When the word shadow dances through our thoughts, it often conjures up the enigmatic recesses of our psyche, those uncharted territories we instinctively shy away from exploring. Yet it's imperative to grasp that the shadow is not merely a realm of darkness or malevolence. It's an indispensable facet of our very essence. The concept of the shadow was ushered into Western thought by Carl Jung, a psychologist who embarked on profound journeys into the labyrinthine labyrinth of the human psyche. According to Jung, the shadow harbors the facets of our being that we've concealed, those traits or tendencies we've hastily deemed as undesirable or malevolent. However, these aspects are not inherently negative. Rather, they are merely facets of our personalities that have yet to bask in the warmth of self-awareness. Think of it as the forgotten you, those elements you've exiled to the farthest reaches of your consciousness. But why does the shadow take shape? In the tapestry of childhood, we look up to the adults in our lives as guiding stars to navigate the cosmos. Our caregivers wield considerable influence in shaping the very essence of who we become. They showered praise upon us for virtuous deeds and admonished us for transgressions. In our eagerness to fit in and please those we revered, we pushed aside elements of ourselves that did not align with societal approval. We magnified the parts deemed acceptable and repressed those perceived as flaws. Consider this. Imagine a 5-year-old boy, a vessel brimming with raw emotions, who expresses his feelings with unbridled sincerity. Then, one fateful day, he sheds tears over a heartache, only to be met with a stern admonition from his father. Stop crying. Be a man. These words, heavy as lead, sear into his impressionable mind. What's wrong with crying? He wonders. But the message is stark. Displaying emotions equates to vulnerability. Consequently, he buries his sensitivity deep within, forging a facade of toughness that he believes is the mask he should wear. Fast forward to adulthood, and this once vulnerable child now finds it a Herculean task to express emotion sincerely. He becomes an enigma, even to those closest to him, and falters in relationships due to the years spent concealing a fragment of his true self. Unbeknownst to him, he has unwittingly nurtured his shadow self. Let us explore another parable. Envision a young girl subjected to her mother's warning every time she dared to exhibit anger. Stop it. Be a good girl, her mother would chide. Determined to please, she stifled her anger, relegating it to the recesses of her mind. As she matures, she discovers that her anger has not dissipated. It lingers, perhaps even more vehemently. It seeps out in passive, aggressive comments or uncontrolled outbursts of rage. Her shadow self lurks beneath the surface, affecting her in ways she cannot fathom. This concealed repository of suppressed traits extends beyond the realm of negativity. Frequently, our finest attributes find themselves relegated to the shadows. For instance, a naturally assertive and outspoken child may be urged to temper their behavior. As an adult, she hesitates to assert herself, never fully realizing her potential for leadership and articulate communication. So, how does the shadow impact our lives? Imagine your mind as a grand mansion, with the conscious mind serving as the well-lit living room, while the shadow resides in the dimly lit basement. Even if we choose to ignore the basement, it remains an integral part of our abode. Similarly, though we may disregard the shadow, it exerts a subtle influence over our actions, emotions, and choices. The shadow morphs into a reservoir of unconscious beliefs, guiding us in ways that often elude our conscious comprehension. As we journey through life, we may find ourselves pondering questions like, why did I react that way? Or why do I keep repeating the same mistakes? Ignoring your shadow self may lead to a fractured sense of self, a disconnection from your true essence. Therefore, my friend, it is prudent to shine a spotlight on the shadow within you. Let us embark on a practical exploration of how to discern the presence of your shadow self. The mirror of projection. We often spot flaws in others that we fail to recognize within ourselves. This is no coincidence. When we project, we are essentially projecting our inner conflicts onto those around us, casting them as the villains in stories that are, in truth, our own. These projections often manifest as suppressed emotions, anger, shame, guilt, lurking in our shadows. Observing your engagement with the world, every interaction serves as a mirror, reflecting facets of your true self. The universe, an expansive stage, orchestrates encounters to aid us in our quest for self-completion. Pay heed to how you engage with the world around you. Listening to triggers. Have you ever wondered why certain comments or situations ignite an intense emotional response within you, making your blood boil or leaving you emotionally drained? These are your triggers, waving red flags to capture your attention. They offer clues that lead you to your shadow, unveiling the darkest corners of your psyche. Noticing recurring patterns. Do you ever feel trapped in an endless loop, encountering the same challenges or attracting similar people? This is not mere happenstance. It is your shadow beckoning. These patterns are your shadow's way of revealing itself, imploring you to confront and liberate it. But how does one integrate the shadow? Begin by revisiting your childhood, the foundational roots that have shaped your entire life. Ask yourself, was I wholly accepted and loved during my formative years? How did I feel as a child? What expectations were placed upon me? And which of my behaviors were praised or scorned? Brutal honesty is your compass here. For your shadow often takes root in the moments when you felt judged or unaccepted. The shadow thrives in the shadows of ignorance and avoidance. To unveil it, you must shed light upon it, which necessitates becoming aware. Reflect on what you discover within. Do not rush. If you uncover something negative, do not wage war against it. Instead, make peace. If you unearth something positive, embrace it with open arms. Awareness is your primary stride, akin to finally glimpsing something that was perpetually hidden in the shadows. When you do confront your shadow, refrain from berating it with judgment or scorn. Remember, your shadow self was born of rejection or non-acceptance. To reject it once more would serve no purpose. It craves love and kindness, not further condemnation. Shower your shadow with the same compassion you would offer to a struggling friend. Let triggers serve as your guides. Life's challenges and your emotional triggers are opportunities in disguise. When something triggers an intense emotional response within you, do not resent it. Instead, express gratitude. That trigger has illuminated another facet of your shadow. Recognize it, acknowledge it, and work on it. This is the path to inner liberation. Lastly, but equally crucial, observe your shadow without forming judgments. Rather than allowing your inner critic to pass judgment on your discoveries, assume the role of a detached observer, much like watching clouds drift across the sky. This perspective empowers you to integrate these concealed aspects of yourself with love and understanding. Engaging in shadow work is not a mere indulgence. It is a necessity. It represents the highest form of self-love and self-improvement you can bestow upon yourself. May this concise elucidation serve as a beacon on your path to self-discovery. If you find value in this message, I encourage you to share it with your loved ones. Wishing you a splendid day on your journey of enlightenment.